In this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways to use stale sourdough bread. One will be toasts, which you spread olive oil, you toast them, and they're great for spreads and dips. Another is croutons, taking square pieces of bread. They can be semi-stale, stale, or fresh, and you saute those and you make them crispy. And another is breadcrumbs. I save all the dried ends and then I'll put them through a grinder to make sourdough breadcrumbs. So 3 great ways to use sourdough. When your sourdough loaf ends up to this size, this is great for toasts. Cut it this way. Let's see if I can. Yeah, you need a nice, sharp, smooth knife. And then after we have them in this nice thin piece, I put them in olive oil. You can either do it in a skillet, cast iron skillet I use, or I will coat a baking sheet with olive oil and top each piece with olive oil. These make great toasts for pate, for cheese dip, for, I'm trying to think of what else I've used them for, a fish dip, like a smoked fish dip. They're great. And then when they get this size, I'll save these, dry them out, and then make breadcrumbs. Take a baking sheet, olive oil. I have my oven heated to 375. I spread the olive oil. Spread the bread slices on the sheet. And I'll top with olive oil and salt. I like to use the silicone brush to make sure each piece has a nice coating of the olive oil. Top with salt, pepper, sometimes garlic powder. Put them in the oven until they're golden brown, and then you have nice serving toasts. And just like that, a few, really not many minutes at all in the oven, and we have some nice toasts for a quick snack. This is just a fish dip or fish spread. I took some smoked fish, a little bit of mayonnaise, and it's perfect for your sourdough toasts. Another way to dry out the bread is to slice it thin like this, and I'll just leave them out here on this cast iron griddle, and they'll just dry. Put a little bit of olive oil on the top. You can throw them in the oven to warm them up. Or croutons. I'm using a sourdough which is a little bit dried out, which is perfect. Cutting thick slices, 2 of them. And we will make croutons. And these are great for any type of soup that you have. A flavorful crouton, either sauteed in butter or olive oil with herbs, is a nice topping. So I'm going to make these into croutons. I'm going to use unsalted butter. I use Kerrygold unsalted. Buy it in the bricks, and I like to keep them into this container. Put the bread cubes in. Start tossing the croutons. Add salt. You can add garlic, pepper. I'm going to add a little more butter. And as these saute, they will brown up and become crispy. When I'm doing breadcrumbs, I let the bread air dry out in the room. And I try to get thin pieces and small pieces. Some of them, if they're too dense, it might be tough for the grinder. I have tried this in the food processor. The food processor does not do a fine grind and it will leave larger pieces, which may work depending on what you're using the breadcrumbs for. But I already had this grinder attachment, so that's what I use. Since some of these pieces are really hard, I will put them in one at a time. I don't want to overwhelm the grinder. These thin, dry pieces, they'll go in easily. And these are some stale toasts that I didn't use up and I wanted to make breadcrumbs, so I'm using those, even if they're seasoned. This was like a flatbread that I made, had some olive oil and seasoning on it, and this is great for breadcrumbs. And there you have it. Fresh breadcrumbs. Thanks for watching 3 ways to use stale sourdough pieces. Check out my playlist in the kitchen where I share other recipes that I'm making here in the kitchen on the homestead.